it seems that... One,
Nah,
two,
we
one,
are live.
two. Yeah, I haven't seen the
Ruby.
little Discord lights lighting up yet. Oh, there they go.
Well, yeah, you got the delay.
Yeah, but I shouldn't be getting delay on XSplit. It's just delay for the people watching. One,
Nah,
two,
we
one,
are
two.
live. Well, yes.
Yep, there we go. All
Yeah,
done.
Ruby.
And I can hear myself. Oh, there they go. I don't know why. I know why.
Well, yeah, you got the delay.
Yeah, but I shouldn't be getting delay on XSplit. It's just...
Are you done hearing yourself?
Watching.
Because we're live and we're having this conversation. This is what... Is this what people are tuning in for?
Rhetorical
all none of them?
Entertainment is off in Network 34, one of the first people to christen the new channel. And yeah, I figured out why I could hear myself is because I had Network 34 unmuted. So
I see.
Myself
all
20
right.
seconds later.
Ruby.
Oh, hello, Rhetorical Entertainment. Yes,
Good morning, Arthur.
Brand new scenery for today. We thought we'd take it out and give it a spin.
Oh,
See
yeah.
what happened. Loop, loop,
So,
loop,
I guess...
loop, loop, loop. Loop tells me nothing. Other
Loop.
than your day job is as Toucan Sam.
Oh, no. What kind of bird? Oh, I guess he's a toucan, isn't he? Toucan Sam. I was wondering what kind of bird he was for a second. Not realizing it's right there in the frickin' name. Oh, my God. It's like, hey, Jim, what kind of bird is Woody Woodpecker anyway?
The audio's repeating.
God.
Hopefully the audio
Might as well
is
ask.
stopping repeating. Ah, yeah, that's probably because I hadn't muted one of the YouTube channels. So yeah, audio looping is done. I'm gonna have to do something with them boxes because I can barely see the chat. But
what kind of bird is Daffy Duck? Jesus, I'm an idiot sometimes. I'm not going to let myself live this down. I'm just my God, I've got the... Sometimes I think I've got the intellectual fortitude of a shoelace.
That good.
I mean, we all do it, though. We all step into something every now and again. Sometimes we're all as bright as Scotland. How's that for a segue?
So, God, Scotland, not terribly bright. Scotland have been doing some real funky shit.
Hey, Finn, how's it going? Jesus Christ, yeah, it was bad. I'm a moron, what can I say? But you know what? At least I know that, at least I'm not trying to defend Hitler's feelings. Scotland, I'm talking to you. Correct me if I'm right, if I'm wrong, Ericor. I was almost said correct me if I'm right. Maybe early morning is not my time of day.
I don't think early morning should be anybody's time of day. It's just a bad thing.
Good call.
Around.
But correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't the United Kingdom in, say the late 30s, early 40s fight against Hitler and the Nazi Party and all that stuff?
Oh, we've got somebody in your chat, but your chat is tiny and I can't read it.
Oh yeah, that's Fen.
Oh, hey, Fen.
He says his kid's school is out bacon. I don't know what that means. Oh, out because of a threat.
Oh, God.
He must be doing that on his phone because I can't see because of a threat being converted to bacon in any other circumstance.
Why is the word threat being converted to bacon?
Well, no, because of a threat. I think it probably, he started typing because and the word bacon popped up and it just went through somehow. These things happen.
Oh, yeah.
But, I'm pretty sure everyone realizes that's what's going on with this whole Count Dankula thing. It's essentially the state of Scotland. I'm going to call it the state of Scotland because I'm just going to call it the state of Scotland at this point.
Yeah.
And the reason I do that is to make a distinction between the government and the people. The people of Scotland, I'm sure, are giving less than 2 fidget spinners about Count Dankula's video. But the state
If there
seems to
wasn't
be
before, there
offended.
probably are now.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I mean. The only reason the people are going to become interested is because the state forced the issue, because the state apparently wanted to defend the Nazi Party, which I'm still trying to grasp. Yeah, this, like I said, this is our world now.
I'm sure it's a lack of critical thinking by the judge, to be totally honest, that he never even thought for once to consider. But can this be interpreted any other way than the way I am seeing it?
Well, yeah, that's insane. How could someone have a job where they pass judgment if they can't use judgment? I mean, he said right early on in his video that he got tired of his girlfriend talking about how cute her pug was, so he thought of the most reprehensible thing he can come up with.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like there wasn't any context, but the judge said in the judgment context doesn't matter. When
The hell it doesn't.
When on earth, to do with anything ever, do you get to a point that context doesn't matter?
I'll prove that context matters. Okay, because we know what's really we know the story behind it, all the what's going on and whatnot. We understand that the guy is that Dankula is like a de facto comedian. He does stuff for the giggles, for the laughs.
Yeah.
And the news story came up through one of the news sites I frequent on Facebook. I'm trying to pull that up now. Came up just this morning. There we go. And I'm going to read you the in-depth article that this news agency
Have you got a
wrote
link
on
to the
it.
in-depth article?
I can do, yeah.
Because I want to try out the funky new feature.
Oh, yeah, let's do that. I'll DM it to you through Discord.
Yep. Yes, we've
There
got
you go.
experimental things happening today on the show, so things may or may not go well.
Yes, we are doing we are attempting to up our game a little bit. Let's say that.
Or fail spectacularly.
Okay, here's the in-depth reporting. I'll just read it because it's quite short. A Scottish man who taught his girlfriend's dog to do the Nazi salute on command is being convicted of a hate crime. Mark Meechan was convicted on Monday. The YouTuber known as Count Dankula taught the pug named Buddha to do the salute in response to statements Heil Hitler and Gas the Jews. He posted a video of Buddha doing the salute at his command on his YouTube channel in September of 2016. Before it was taken down for violating YouTube's hate speech policy, it was viewed nearly 3 million times. Meechan claims he taught the dog to do the salute because his girlfriend was carrying on about how cute the dog was. He said he decided to turn it into the least cute thing he could think of, a Nazi. Okay, so where's all the hate? Where is it? I mean, clearly he doesn't think very highly of Nazis, now does he?
Obviously the judge does, because he's coming up with a ruling that defends them, and yeah, my scrolling is messed up here. I'm trying to get there. And I think I may need to actually put that over the top of our icons. Yeah, I got the layout slightly messed up, because things are doing things they're not supposed to be doing in places they're not meant to. Yeah, there we go. Girlfriend carrying on about how cute the dog was. Yeah, there we go. Okay, this is going to be fun to try and center.
Okay. I've been going on this all this time, and I forgot that I turned my mic off for a second because I'm a moron.
And there we have the dangers of not enough coffee.
Did I have the mic on when I was reading the damn thing at least?
Yeah, you had the mic on when you was reading it.
Okay, because now I'm just, oh, good God. Hang on, sip of the coffee, see if that'll give me some energy, some, I don't know. See if that'll give me some brain. Anyhow, what I was saying into the ethers that I think Fen is right. Pretty soon laughing is going to be illegal. Because someone can misinterpret it. You might hurt somebody's feeling if you're laughing at random, so we'll have to put you in prison. You know, how much, I almost wonder, do you think that when they take Dankula to jail that they'll tattoo a number into his arm too, maybe?
God knows.
Yeah. No, I'm just being a dick. Let's see. Arthur says, Dankula said at the beginning of the video he wanted to turn the dog into the least cute thing possible. Exactly. How is calling the Nazis the least cute thing possible in any way issuing or indicating support of the Nazis? I'm waiting for an answer, Scotland. State of Scotland, I should say. I mean, I'd like to see the justification. It's just sad. This just tells me that the state of Scotland is pro-Hitler.
Oh, yeah, it kind of does.
Yeah, that's twice this morning, Fen, because I'm a moron. I'm having...
That's the foreground, that's the background.
You know what happened is I ate a bunch of cheesy poofs yesterday.
Cheesy poofs.
And the poofy part went to my brain. God, it's just infuriating. This is the world we live in now.
Yeah.
It's that bad. You know, it's like this latest thing with YouTube and their new policy against the gun videos. Let's see, I'm reading what Arthur's saying here as soon as, are they sending John Cleese and Prince Harry to prison too? Give them a minute. But that's the thing. This is why I'm calling the state of Scotland cowardly. They're not going to go after John Cleese. They're not going to go after Prince Harry. They're not going to go after anyone who can mount a serious defense. They're going to go after the small guy because that's the easy target. You know, they're going after what in the military they call a soft target.
Yeah.
That's the part that's really insidious. You know, they're going after absolute nobodies. You know, the same way our government won't go after Hillary Clinton because she could mount a defense. She's got contacts. She's got money. She could potentially be a bit of a problem when it comes to a prosecution because she could easily fight back. Doesn't mean she'll win, but she can mount a defense. But anyone who's nobody, they'll go after him tooth and claw without a second's hesitation. And, you know, again, it's just, oh my God, I get so frustrated at this stuff. It's hard not to, like, burst out with a string of profanities and hyperactive vitriol with a lot of this stuff. It really is.
It's just gone beyond ridiculous.
Oh, someone had said that that there is no longer a line between farce and reality at this point. And I think that person's right. I can't remember who said it. It was yesterday. Someone said that, and they're right.
I mean, I know I've mentioned it a few times, but it's been said by lots of other people as well, though. So
yes,
is it not something like Poe's law or something like that?
Yeah, kind of. I guess I'm not really up on all the laws. You know, the I certainly know what Rule 34 is. I mean, who doesn't?
Yeah, that's one that's
But you know, apart from Rule 34 and like maybe the Prime Directive, I don't bother with a lot of. I mean, I understand like the no true Scotsman fallacy and some of those things, but I don't spend my life learning those phrases just so I can throw them at someone in an argument. Because I mean, when you say someone's appealing to authority, the person saying that the other person is appealing to authority is appealing to something else entirely. You know, it's almost at the point where if you quote all those things all the time in every argument you have, you're just appealing to another kind of authority.
Well, virtue signaling is basically several fallacies all wrapped in one. Virtue signaling is the appealing to authority, so the cool kids will like you. And then there's all the arguments is appealing to authority because, I mean, they claim that there's this big overruling thing called the patriarchy, but they have one of their own. They just have never named it.
Yes. Absolutely. Let's see. Arthur says, looks like the chat box in the stream might be broken.
Yeah. Unfortunately, when I set up the blah 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 the thing. Oh, his chat got censored. Oh, he's being naughty.
Oh, okay.
But with Mitch the Ripper's YouTube chat box, when I set the stream up, none of the streams were live, so I couldn't adjust the formatting properly. As far as I know, all of the other boxes are working as intended.
Interesting.
We'll find out. Alright, that's network 34s. Let's have a look at.
But it's really getting bad. I mean, it's been getting. We were talking earlier about
Yeah, Twitch's is working fine.
About how there we go. Someone wrote nipples. Oh, that's you, isn't it? Okay.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes, it's always good to check these things and
because I'm one of those high-level intellectuals who has very, very important things to say, and just because I've got to do this because it's just going to make me giggle.
Let's see. A guy got released after 5 years after 5 years into a 22-year sentence for being a kitty diddler. Yes, that one made it through, apparently. At least on Network 34's YouTube chat. Free the nipples. I don't know any straight man who is against the concept of free the nipples.
Well, except for when they're really, really hideously fat people.
Well, even then, at least it's a nipple.
Well,
I mean,
imagine
if you possess a degree of focus, you can ignore the rest and just be like, hey, nipple. Oh, I forgot what I was completely. The nipple thing. The nipple thing took me completely out of my mindset.
Do you know, I really am thinking that now whenever I start streaming, I definitely have to reset my machine because unfortunately my instant punchline gag wasn't instant or punchliney enough. Paul Joseph Watson took 2 minutes to say what he needed to.
Oh, great. Yeah, lovely.
Well, imagine my shot.
This is the lightning fast technology they keep telling us about.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like
but but it's no, you're kind of right there, Fan, about the nipples. Like them hidden, may get boring if you see them everywhere. True. But seeing them isn't the same as touching them. So I'm gonna fall back on that just a little bit though, because I do agree with what you said there. But you know, if you get rid of all the mysticism, I guess there's no there's nothing to get all worked up about if you happen across a few of them.
Well, the only nipples you're allowed to like these days are the nipples on the perpetrators of the fat acceptance movement. You're not allowed to look at nipples that are actually pleasant to look at anymore.
Oh, true. But just imagine, in the United Kingdom, they've already indicated their intent to expend police resources on safeguarding the feelings of people who lack any degree of emotional maturity.
Yeah,
Hey, mad woman.
they're chasing people who post mean tweets.
Yeah, they're basically going after people who are a little bit mean, and who are a little bit
Controversial, because God forbid you say anything about Islam that isn't anything.
No, that's just my
glowing.
point. That's just my point. Calling the Nazis the least cute thing ever is not controversial. And this is the state looking for a scapegoat.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is the state looking for a test case. It's like when it's like how people of a certain political bent will see you, Fen. Thanks for popping in. It's like when you have a job and you see someone get hired, and everything they do seems to revolve around their little political ideology, and they're just there to hopefully get themselves into a situation where they can sue somebody because they want to have a test case.
Yeah.
Just like the people with the gay wedding cake thing. That was just someone who wanted a test case, so they could use the court system to push an agenda. It's like having an activist judge without that person being a judge. And that's the same thing with Scotland. Scotland just wanted their test case, and screw them for it. To be honest, I think America. I'm sorry, go on.
I think Dankula was right in what he said, though, in that interview, that the outcome was predetermined.
Yes.
They knew the verdict they wanted going in, and he was just going to be the scapegoat to get the verdict they wanted.
Yep. Exactly. And honestly, right now, I think I'm annoyed with President Trump. Let me make that clear. I'm annoyed with that guy right now. But one thing he could do to get back into my good graces is to announce that he will make it easy for people to immigrate to America who are fleeing tyranny. Because what you have in Scotland right now is a tyranny.
Oh, yeah.
Or shit, I'd almost say in the UK in general, because let's face it, the police are more interested in going after these great big meanies. They're more interested in protecting the feelings of the infantile than they are in, stopping rape gangs, for example.
Yeah.
There's been a huge uptick in shoplifting in the UK, but the police are going to go after someone who used the word fatso on Facebook.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. And if some of my some of the people I converse with on a regular basis are correct, there are plenty of people in law enforcement who are leaving the profession over this stuff.
Oh, I'm not surprised. I mean, how can you, in good faith, do a job of basically being the SS?
Yeah, because that's what it is now, at least in Scotland.
I mean, it wasn't what they signed up for.
No. That would be my argument. If I were a cop and I saw one piece of hate speech legislation, I'd be like, you know what, this isn't what I signed up for. I'm not enforcing this. That would be my first step. Yes, Scotland has become Cardassia. You're right, Arthur. That's exactly what I was thinking when Aracor said that the outcome was predetermined. Because that's how Cardassian law works. No one is ever guilty or innocent because it would be wrong to try the innocent. Therefore, everyone they try must be guilty. So the outcome is predetermined. It's a trick that the states that a tyrannical state will use to justify its own existence, or to justify its actions. And it's a horrendous way to live. Right now, no one in Scotland can consider themselves free, not rationally, because this isn't freedom. This is tyranny, plain and simple. But yeah, if President Trump actually said, if he actually tweeted out, America is going to be is once again going to be the place for people fleeing tyranny, I would be like, yeah, amen, hot dog, yippee-ki-yay. I mean, I'm pissed at Trump because of this stuff with the bumps with the guns and the in the video games, because what he's doing there is a knuckle under. Let's see. Arthur says the trial is just a show to make the people believe that justice is being served. Exactly.
The problem is I don't think the backlash has really happened yet.
No, I think
because knowing that with the side that we're on in all of this, we don't tend to do the knee-jerk reaction. You saw the knee-jerk reaction, a handful of YouTube videos and a hashtag movement. But the real backlash is going to be well backed up, well cited, and
oh yeah. Well, see, here's what I think is going on. The news breaks that that Dankula was found guilty. I think at that point, certain elements of the state of Scotland began getting bombarded with tweets and emails and things of that nature, probably from all over the world, saying, hey, you're full of it. And I think that got to the judge, and that's why the judge decided to hold off sentencing until April 23rd. I agree, Arthur. We do need the actual correct definition of tyranny codified into law. I mean, right now, the definition of tyranny is, at least in the United States, is left up to the Bill of Rights. Anyone who violates the values as stated in the Bill of Rights could be classified as tyrannical. Doesn't matter if they have a government position or not. Theft is an act of tyranny. Murder is an act of tyranny.
And
censorship is an act of tyranny.
Right there you run into a problem, because it's so broad and can define anything that any imaginary law that they make up can fall under it.
Well, see, that's true. And this is why I think one of the things that has to happen, at least in the States, is that we need to go through all of our legislation and eliminate those things that do not fall within the limits of the Constitution and get rid of them. They just have to go away. So then how would you qualify that to make it easy to get to the USA under that premise? Just how I said, let's face it, if we're letting people into the United States based on the idea that they're fleeing a tyranny, I'm not saying just let them in. Mind you, I'm not saying, here, the door's open, no paperwork, no background check, just come on in. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that America is going to welcome people fleeing tyranny. That doesn't mean there's going to be no paperwork. There's still going to be paperwork. You still have to go through the system legally.
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting that we hold the door open for anyone without proper vetting. I want to make that clear. But America does need, the way America can be that place is to simply obey its own rules. You know, not just at a government level, but, you know, we need to make the Bill of Rights a part of the culture again. It needs to be part of our cultural values. And there's plenty of physical space, and it's only going to be good for America in the long run to have people here who appreciate everything that the Constitution and the founding of this country actually stands for.
Now
We don't. Oh, go on.
Here's a question. It's something that I wondered before we actually started the stream. But has there ever been anything presented in the US that could be seen on a similar ground, somebody being hauled up in front of the system for an off-color joke?
I don't think for an off-color joke, but there have been instances where
It's Nini-chan.
Hey, Panina, there have been instances where people have been convicted for political reasons. Every time, whenever there's someone who wants to be a district attorney is, running for that position, and they suddenly decide that they're going to get tough on crime and all this, like the sex bots thing I was talking about on American Reality the other night.
Yeah.
We have the one, this is a midterm election year. And we have one senator / congressman. I'm not sure what he was at this point. I'd have to look up the article again. But he was proposing that we immediately ban the sale, manufacture, blah, 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 of sex robots that resemble a child. And he's only doing it because it's a midterm election year.
And
it's a part of his re-election campaign.
It's a very emotionally charged topic that it's one of them that if you disagree with it, you must be a pedophile, and it's one of those that even those who aren't leftists and want to shame you at every step, it's one of those. Well, right. if I say that no, those sort of bots should be allowed to be made, then I'm advocating something I don't want to be.
Right, exactly.
That is a legit example of what they try and do.
Right, he's hoping for an easy political position there that no one's going to argue against. And sorry, but I think I argued against it pretty well. Just based on, well, I don't want to get into that topic because that's something other than what we're really talking about here. But Arthur writes, the guy they scapegoated, who created the video that quote unquote caused the Libya embassy thing. That's a good example. That guy's a political prisoner in the United States. But there's also people who get jailed just because it's easy to jail them. If a woman ends up dead and she's married, her husband is typically the prime suspect almost immediately because there is a pattern that indicates that the husband is one of the most likely people to commit that crime.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Look into them. Absolutely.
The problem then
occurs
when the police don't look any further than that. They just
you don't look at that suspect
to fit the person you've got.
Right. You don't look at that suspect to the exclusion of all else. I mean, I'm very much on the side of I would rather have 10 guilty people go free than one innocent person jailed. And yeah, that's gonna it sounds like a bad rule on the surface because it sounds like I'm advocating for all the murder, chaos, and mayhem that those 10 people would cause, but I'm not. What I'm advocating for is making absolutely certain, let's say beyond a reasonable doubt. That's a good phrase to use. I want to be absolutely certain that the person who's found guilty is the guilty party. I don't care what the crime is. I want to know that we got the right perpetrator. I guess that makes me un-American somehow. I guess, giving a damn about evidence and so forth makes me a bad guy.
Well, you know how...
Exactly, Arthur. A truly guilty person will likely do something again and get caught and brought to justice. But we have cases already where, decades later, people convicted of rape are found to be not guilty because of the DNA.
Mm.
Those were people who were convicted because it was expedient at the time to do so. It made somebody look good. Hey, I got a conviction in this case. Look at me. Look, see how well I did? Hey, everyone, vote for me.
Especially when they started linking police departments' funding to their arrest rates and conviction rates.
Yep.
It just got to the point where, we'll make some shit up and just get them in prison, and that'll get us another 10 grand on the budget next year.
Yeah, exactly. They don't care about right and wrong any longer. And that's a sad thing, especially in America. Now, in the UK, I'm going to say that this thing with Dankula really illustrates how badly the UK needs a Bill of Rights.
Oh, definitely.
Because as it stands now, in the UK, you don't have it codified into law that freedom of speech is an unalienable right. Now, listen to how I pronounce that. Not unalienable, unalienable. Am I going to have to go into that, you think, Eric? Or should I go through and explain that?
Probably.
Okay, I'm going to do that.
Just for the sake of those who are listening who may be finding this later on and then decide to come and join us at a future date. Because these all get saved to various channels all over YouTube and hopefully Twitch as well once Panina-chan goes and sets everything up. Because as far as Twitch is concerned, I'm just sort of like, no.
Yeah, I'm a Twitch idiot. Hell, I'm an idiot when it comes to doing the YouTube thing. Put me in charge of something on Twitch and just watch the stupid gears turning and keep turning and never get anywhere. But I pronounce the word as unalienable instead of unalienable for a particular reason. It's because the word lien defined is the legal claim of one person upon the property of another person to secure the payment of a debt or the satisfaction of an obligation. What the word unalienable is the word that's actually used. Yes, I'm a Twitchiot. The word unalienable means that no such lien can be put upon your rights. They can't be confiscated, they can't be removed, they can't be denied. Doxed? What do you mean, oh my God, you doxed me? What are you talking about, Arthur? Oh, I see. Jeez, you had me worried there for a minute.
I don't. Who to what now?
I'm having a what about your lefts? No, that's too easy. Too easy. I expect better comedy out of you, Arthur. Yeah. That's why I don't say unalienable. It's not just about alienating somebody. It's about placing a lien on somebody's rights. And you can't do that to someone who hasn't broken the law. And when I say broken the law, I mean you can't do that to someone who hasn't first tried to apply a lien on someone else's rights. But yeah, I agree with Arthur. The internet also needs a Bill of Rights. Now, we discussed this Bill of Rights thing the other day, Eric, and I had asked, because you live in the UK,
yeah.
If all of a sudden the UK had a Bill of Rights that was identical to that which exists in the United States, just those first 10 amendments to the Constitution,
yeah,
would that really change British culture that much?
Well, there would be one big change to the culture, but beyond that one big change, I don't think there would be a great many changes, to be totally fair. Because for the most part, the UK system tends to emulate the US system anyway.
True.
But the one big change that we would have is we would then have the right to arms. We'd basically get the Second Amendment, which would give us the whole right to arm ourselves against the threat of a tyrannical government.
Yes.
And
And do you think, let's see, how are you on timeout on the Network 34 chat?
have you been spamming? Or did you link your website?
But how do you think what kind of gun culture do you think would spring up in the UK? I mean, do you think it would be the same as America's, or do you think it would be?
It
I mean,
definitely wouldn't be the same for a couple of reasons, but the main one being America's gun culture has always been there. It's as American as mom and apple pie.
right.
The UK has never really had one, so first it'd be a novelty and there'd be shootings all over the place for a damn long time. Then eventually people would settle in, and I honestly think what would end up happening is, yeah, you get a bunch of people who'd like their guns and they'd collect them, but most of the people would go, well, we don't know this, we'll go back to what we do know. And they'd basically not have guns, or even though they had the right to them, they wouldn't have them because that's what they know.
Right. I could see that happening. I think there's another thing about British culture that I've noticed, and mind you, I've never been there. What I notice through entertainment mostly.
Yeah.
But I've noticed that, and I think it's going away now too, actually, and it worries me a bit. But I've noticed that there's the whole stiff upper lip thing when it comes to being British. You know, you carry on. You know, if something gets in your way, you carry on. You put your pants on and you just keep going.
It does still exist, just not quite as prominent as it used to be, especially around the Second World War time. But it does still exist. It's just evolved as everything does.
Well, yeah. Well, that's what I mean. I think it's actually going away a bit because of the political correctness infiltration of law enforcement, for one. You know,
and another aspect is also the Americanization of the UK, because most of our entertainment comes from your side of the pond.
Right.
So, especially the most recent generation, the millennials and the Generation Z, they've grown up watching America, so they've grown up more American just with a British accent. If that makes any kind of sense.
Yeah, it does. I mean, there are elements of, for one thing I've noticed when it comes to, at least in entertainment, the British people, I think, are a little bit less infantilized by entertainment than the American people. Or if I'm wrong in that, then it's at least they'd be infantilized in a different way. Because in America, you have this whole thing about everything's got to be family friendly. Doesn't matter what time of day it's on, or what time of day it airs, rather. It doesn't matter at all what the target audience is. It's still, for some reason, got to be family friendly. Meanwhile, you watch some of the when I watch some of the comedy panel shows that come out of the UK. There's all kinds of profanity, there's all kinds of sexual innuendo, and it's funny and hilarious.
The thing is, the UK, we have something called the watershed, which is basically 9 p.m. at night. Anything before 9 p.m. has to be family friendly.
Right.
Anything after 9 p.m., it kind of then has to go to PG, because we never quite get any further than maybe PG-15.
And we used to have that in the United States, even when I was a kid.
Yeah.
There was a show that had that would bare a woman's breasts once every episode, and it came on after 11 p.m.
Yeah. Probably Benny Hill or something like
It,
that. Actually,
it was along those lines, yes.
rhetorical
But I mean,
entertainment has just said something I'd like to address. So a lot
oh,
of
hit
English
it.
kids think the UK was just as bad regarding slavery as the USA. No, actually, we were worse. Back when the British Empire was a thing and we owned half of the world, slavery was a huge thing. We were far worse than the US ever was. At least in the US, they used to, generally speaking, hashtag not all, but most of the slaves were very highly regarded. After all, they were regarded in much the way a farmer would regard his tractor or his combine harvester. They were something that, if you looked
Right.
after, they would serve you well. Whereas during, now my British history isn't great, but what I have picked up is during the realm of the British Empire, slaves were expendable.
And yeah, there was a thing with American slavery. There was actually legislation about how you could treat your slave,
Yeah,
and when people broke those laws, they were punished for it. You know, it's not like every case was just an angry white guy with a bullwhip. You know, those cases tended to be. And I want to be clear. I'm not justifying what. I'm not saying slavery is in any way good or less bad. I think it's bad no matter what. I mean, I hate it so much that, and I've said this before, in America, there is a requirement to graduate high school that you do X amount of hours of what they call community service. You know, you're required in essence to volunteer your time and effort. The problem is, if you're required to volunteer your time and effort, you're not actually volunteering. They've essentially created slave labor
mm.
with this requirement. And I've actually spoken out against that because it is a violation of the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery in 1867, I believe.
Rhetorical, Sargon may not have got it wrong, I may have, but I do seem to recall that as far as the treatment of slaves, America was very civilized compared to some of the history of the British, as far as their delvings into slavery went.
But see, that's so. I'm not saying that that America did slavery right or anything like that, because that's nonsense. Slavery is always wrong, at least as far as I'm concerned. Even even in the face of committing a crime and being sentenced to prison, I think slavery is wrong. But we do have, the 13th Amendment does make an exception a little bit for someone who is convicted of a crime.
Mm.
You know, I don't want to pull it up again. Jesus Christ, here I go. I got to look these things up so I can read them properly,
Yeah.
because I don't remember everything word for word. Here we go. Text. Here it is. Section 1, 13th Amendment. It's very short. This is back when these sort of things were written to be concise and easily understood by everyone. Let's see. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. Section 2. Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. That's it.
Doesn't come more straightforward than that.
Right. That's what I mean. That's like I said, it's before the time when every bit of legislation had to have 58 exceptions, and that only applies on odd numbered hours of even numbered days. of months that contain the letter Q, or a month with the letter U in it, for example. I mean, they write laws like that now.
Yeah.
Forced labor as punishment for something you did wrong isn't slavery, in my opinion, says
Yeah,
Arthur.
that one little paragraph that you read there would now comprise 3 volumes in some
Right,
on a
and
shelf somewhere.
not just related to the issue at hand either. I mean, there would be other stuff in it about Congress shall receive funding, or representatives shall receive funding for every cute animal they own.
Yeah.
You know, there would be a bunch of nonsense writers on that, of that nature. Not to mention Corb subsidies in an education bill. Exactly. This is the thing. This is one of our problems, you know, in America. We gotta tighten up the rules of writing legislation. One issue, one bill. That's simple.
I think that's kind of what Trump wanted to do as well. For every regulation you want to introduce, you have to get rid of 2.
Yes, I agree with that. Because we are overregulated.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing with tyranny. If you want some examples of tyranny, and especially tyranny as it relates to the to the American Bill of Rights, we have plenty of tyrants in this country. They're everywhere. You know some of their names already.
Zuckerberg.
Yes, actually. And I'll tell you why. Because tyrants who cannot enact legislation will enact policy. Arthur writes, a new amendment to the Constitution. A new law or bill must be specific to the issue at hand, written in plain language, and may not be more than 100 words.
Yeah, I think that word limit's a little low, but I agree with the spirit.
So do I, but I agree with most of it. I mean, when Trump got elected, I mean, between the time he got elected and he actually took office, I wrote a piece of legislation. You know, it never got anywhere, obviously, because I'm nobody. But I did actually write it down, and it was for the purpose of doing away with a lot of the troubles with healthcare. And it was just a 4-sentence bit of legislation. I wrote it with the intent of being concise and there being absolutely no confusion. If you write law that involves confusion, you're writing bad law.
Yeah. Or law that's
and what was I on about?
Law that's vague that can.
Yes, if there are too many abstract conditionals involved in legislation, it's bad law, and it should be treated as such. It should be ignored and never passed.
It really does make me wonder, because we all know how the left loves redefining words to mean what they need it to suit their agenda. It really
well, yes,
does,
Arthur, the confusion is intentional.
I wonder if there is such a thing that exists as a legal dictionary, where all of these words are clearly defined, so that they can say what they want to, but when it gets to court, these definitions are the ones that are used, not your nonsense that you made up because you want to be called Z instead of Stephanie.
Right. But what I was on about is tyrants who cannot enforce or write law will write and enforce policy. And Facebook is a good example. So is Alphabet Inc., Google, YouTube, Twitter. These are tyrannical operations. It's just that it's not law is the big difference. It's all policy. Google just decided to ban anything, or not Google, YouTube decided to get rid of anything on their platform that demonstrates the operation of a firearm. And, you know, they were a little bit specific, even though they don't know what they're talking about. But they've written a set of rules that is so vague that that it can be interpreted in far too many ways. in this way, with policy, you get to be a hell of a lot more tyrannical than you do with law.
Especially with vague policy, because it can mean that on Monday we don't like YouTuber X. We don't like PewDiePie on Monday, but on Tuesday it means something totally different, so it means we don't like Sargon. But PewDiePie's
Right.
okay again. Or PewDiePie's not okay, but
somehow
we're just expanding it to cover people. And
right.
there's no definitions to say what is okay and what isn't. So you have to guess at the law. It's
Yeah.
sort of like, well, I'm on 5th Street today. Is it okay to murder somebody on 5th Street but not on 4th? And that's the situation we're in YouTube.
And once again, it's I would be just as accurate in uploading that 3-minute video I did. That's nothing but the words, "The socio-political commentary is YouTube Google approved." You know, it's because they're creating a situation where you can't say anything, where you can't do anything, you can't demonstrate anything. Shit, if I'm sitting on my porch reading a book and I film it for 3 minutes and put it on YouTube, they'll find a reason to ban it.
Oh, yeah.
Not because it actually breaks a law or breaks a policy, but because they've decided that they don't like Mitch the Ripper because of other things Mitch the Ripper has said. Let's see. Arthur's got a bunch of stuff in the chat here, and I'll go through it all. I think the confusion is intentional when it comes to writing law. Remember that you have to be very specific with a genie when you make your wishes. Lawyers, lawmakers, and judges are just modern-day genies. If you don't word it right, they will interpret it in a way that screws you. He's correct. These social media companies, he says, have been warned that they might lose their immunity to the Content Decency Act if they're not careful. Content Decency Act. I got to look that up. I need to familiarize myself with that. It sounds tyrannical as all hell, because decency is an arbitrary thing. I mean, if you're I'll use outdoor urination as an example. You'll be charged with indecent exposure if you have to pull over and urinate immediately.
And end up on a sex offenders register for some reason.
Yes, exactly. I would say that qualifies as cruel and unusual punishment.
Yeah.
I would say it's indecent to charge someone in that manner for doing that. Let's see. Arthur says it's a premise that platforms that are neutral are not legally liable for the content of the platform. Well,
so therefore,
that's the thing. These platforms are not neutral.
Shouldn't give a rat's ass if there's guns all over the place, because guns themselves aren't breaking the law.
Well, a lot of these platforms have come right out and demonstrated their lack of interest in being neutral. YouTube's one of them.
Yep.
You know, that's the thing, is they're using their ability to distinguish, I hate to use this word, but to discriminate is at an 8-year-old's level. You know, if there was a guy who commissioned the construction of a Captain America shield out of titanium to demonstrate what it could do.
Yeah.
And during this demonstration, he shot at it with a .45 caliber pistol. So the video is interesting as all hell. It's a neat video to watch. And in a follow-up video, he even does the Captain America throwing his mighty shield thing against a what do you call, ballistic gelatin dummy.
Yeah.
And that thing, that shield's dangerous. It's not a gun.
Yeah.
can stop bullets. It's not a gun, and it actually cracked bone that was within the ballistic gelatin.
I've heard about the Ted Cruz thing that he's bringing up about YouTube. I'm interested to see how that plays out, because I think it's still
So
in
am I,
process.
because let's face it, when these things get to the congressional level, they always go badly. What's the last good thing that come out of Congress? Sent the link in Discord. Ericor, Ruby.
And there's a link in Discord, right? Okay, I'll get to that.
Program activated.
Wow, I'm drying up over
Linking.
here.
I'll be quiet, Ghost.
There we go. Did you say be quiet, Ghost?
Yeah, because I put these socio-political commentaries, YouTube, Google approved video up. And I forgot I had autoplay on my browser. And it kind of went through and we got a little bit of the metadon.
Oh, I see. It did like the...
yeah.
It went to the next video in the chain. Oh, Arthur's off to the dump to get rid of some trash. Yeah, I'm hoping Nancy Pelosi goes away too.
Have you got her in a hefty bag, chopped into pieces?
I doubt that.
Bury that bitch deep so she don't come back.
But you see, this is how tyranny works. People mistakenly believe that tyranny can only exist if the source is government, and that is completely false. Tyranny exists at every level of human interaction, if you let it.
But it's only been the last 20 years that we've experienced a whole new level of it with the... Because, I mean...
Well, yes, but that's...
The internet has changed how everything works.
Yes.
And... Well, I hate to say legislation hasn't really caught up with it. It is actually true. Legislation hasn't really caught up with it. And I'm pretty sure that when they created the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and all that sort of stuff, the internet was the furthest thing from their imagination possible.
Right.
I mean, it does need a little bit of an update, but nothing that is going to change it.
No, it doesn't need an update, actually, because the internet is still covered. Even though the founders, when they wrote the First Amendment, did not imagine something like the internet, and I bet they actually did, because look at some of the fiction from around that era. There was science fiction back then. It doesn't resemble much of what we have now. It was more along the lines of Frankenstein and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
But there were people out there that could imagine the instantaneous exchange of information.
True.
That's why the telephone was invented. Because someone wanted this thing to exist. Well, they found a way to make it exist. Internet's no different. Now the internet is covered because everything you do on the internet is a publication. I mean, that's if you contribute to it, like we are now. This is a publication. We publish our video. We publish our writings. Even when you're just saying no thanks on a stupid meme on Facebook, you're publishing your opinion.
Yeah.
To my way of thinking, that's covered by the First Amendment.
Well, yeah,
that's freedom of the press.
Definitely.
It's freedom of the press. It's freedom of speech. It's freedom of association.
But what I was thinking of was more the likes of your YouTubes, your Facebooks that are enacting policy that, in some cases, directly contravenes what the Constitution and Bill of Rights intends.
Yes. And if they're doing that, then what they are actually doing is inhibiting people. They're depriving people of their rights. There's no two ways around it as far as I'm concerned. Now, I'm not saying that the guy who wants to make the make videos of him diddling his kids, I'm not saying that guy has a right to do that, because in doing that, he's doing harm to someone else. And honestly, I want that guy to post his video because I want that guy to get caught. And him being dumb enough to post a video is a great way for him to get caught. You know, you have to be a special kind of stupid
Well, yeah.
to commit a crime and then brag about it on the internet. I want those people to keep bragging about the crimes they commit because I want them caught. I want them dealt with. You know, that's like giving the prosecution the evidence on a silver platter, and I am all for that. By God, keep letting that stuff come up. That's the attitude that YouTube should have. You let your opponent hang themselves. All you're providing is the rope. There's two things you can do with rope. Pull yourself up or hang yourself.
I'm not sure that's the best example, though, because, I mean, well, I'm saying everybody should have the freedom to speak, not necessarily have the freedom to be heard, because that's a different thing. There are certain things that, I mean, you're talking like your pedophiles, you're talking your true hate speech, like your Muslim clerics who come in and say, right, we need to kill all the non-believers, which are legally defined crimes.
Yes.
Now, I'm not saying that we should give them a platform. They should get the platform just long enough to be seen and then go, right, that's bad, send the van round and delete.
Well, no, I wouldn't delete.
Well,
I would save.
Hide.
Yeah. But I would, you know, in those cases, I want that evidence there for law enforcement to do something with it.
Just make it inaccessible to the general public.
Let's see, got another message there from Panina. I can't see.
Rope is also good for bondage. Giggity.
Well, yeah, but that hopefully is existing between consenting adults.
So it seems Panina is into the kinky sex. The kinky
Or she's into the
sex.
Or she's got a sense of humor. You know, hell. But that's what I'm getting at, though. Is I want that evidence out. Oh, you had to use the Paul Joseph Watson with that, didn't you?
Yep.
It probably hasn't even fired yet.
Oh, he just did.
Not groovy. But see, that's the beauty of the internet. Is it's not just a tool for us to more effectively communicate our ideas and to get those ideas out and whatnot. It's a great way to find a criminal. It's a tool like that too. The internet is like the Swiss Army knife of information things. Hey, Ghost Dog. And that's the beauty of it. You know, the internet is a tool that can be used in so many ways. But when you start limiting it the way YouTube and all of them want to limit it, that tool's effectiveness decreases. You're not going to catch those criminals. In fact, I would say that I would say they're actually creating an environment in which some of these criminals can thrive.
Well, when you start limiting the internet, it's the equivalent of handing somebody a book with page 1 to 5 are all glued together, so you can only read 6 and 7. Then 8 to 11 are glued together, and you can only read 10 and 12. You're basically killing the functionality of it.
Yes.
Except for certain features.
Exactly. And mind you, a lot of the companies doing this are American companies. Alphabet Inc. is an American company. Its subsidiaries are American companies. Facebook, American company. Twitter, American company. These companies do not demonstrate American values.
But then the Constitution also allows for them not to.
Yes, they do. Yes, it does. Absolutely. I'm not saying that. I'm not recommending legislation be brought down upon these companies. I want YouTube to be successful. I really do. The problem is YouTube in its current state, with its current leadership, is not going to be successful for much longer. Everyone's going to get tired of it. I mean, I have no problem with some of the feminists on YouTube being able to use YouTube to get their message out. I'm all for it.
Yeah, give them as big a platform as they want, so they can look as stupid to as many people as they can.
Or, there's going to be feminism has its place. There are some good ideas there. There are some ideas worth exploring.
Oh, certainly.
The problem is, it's one thing to say women and men should be treated equally. I mean, that's already been codified into law.
Well, yeah. Back in the
it's quite another thing. It's quite another thing to come out and say teach your children not to rape.
Yeah.
I mean, no one's born with the rape instinct.
Well, it's like,
and
I agree with you. Feminism does have its place, but not this fourth wave intersectional stuff, because that is just
no. It's at a state right now where it's just silly.
It's at a state where it's not good for anyone except for a very small few.
You know what it is?
Off in their ivory tower, controlling all.
You know what it is right now? Right now, feminism is the political movement version of Bill Nye the desperate to be relevant guy. That's all it is. It's been demonstrated time and time again that feminism is irrelevant as a movement right now. They keep trying to maintain a level of relevance.
Well,
and it's sad.
Feminism, and I'm not just saying this because I'm anti-feminist, but feminism achieved its goals and should have died away. Because you can tell that's true, because now they're actually making shit up to rally against.
Yeah. Let me read some stuff Maddie's got in the chat here.
Back when they actually had legitimate things like, even way back at the beginning, the right of all women to vote instead of just the women who had money and land.
Owned property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The right of all of them, although they shouldn't have got that without the same responsibilities that the men got for. Because what the feminists tend to ignore the fact of is, women, not all women could vote way back when, but not all men could vote either. It was only landowners.
Right. Let me read what some stuff Maddie's got in the chat here. She writes, "I'm hosting it on my channel on Twitch." I don't know what she's referring to there, but I'll just run with it.
Yeah, thank you for the host. I haven't got the Twitch alert to say thank you for the host, so I'll have to do it manually because old school.
Oh, yes, we're old. Let's see. She also writes, "The problem with deplatforming is it forces the bad ideas to go underground and grow into a movement." Exactly. And I don't want it to go underground. I want the bad ideas out there for everyone to see, so everyone can go, nope, bad idea.
But that's a double-edged sword, because it also what we're seeing at the moment is it's also forcing the good ideas underground, which are going to form into a movement which will have the element of surprise.
Yes.
Because no one expects the
and
liberal
that
Inquisition.
Surprise, yeah, the surprise is not necessarily going to be a pleasant one. Is the problem. Let's see. This is due to the fact that the ideas are not challenged or spoken against. Feminism, she writes, had its place. Now it's a bunch of whiny children who find everything to bitch about. Agreed.
Yep.
That's the weird part. Feminism snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. That's what feminism has done.
Yeah.
Because feminism achieved its goals. Treated equally under law, being able to vote, fair pay, or equal pay for equal work. And, well, now they're complaining about
air conditioning.
About air conditioning, yeah.
The wage gap.
The air conditioning thing. It's like it's like they're saying women don't have a choice about how they dress. Well, yes, they do.
It's the men who don't, but they ignore that one.
Everyone does. You can dress any way you want.
Well, generally in the office
you won't necessarily get the results you want from doing it.
Yeah.
If I go out in my spandex Spider-Man outfit, and it's like, yeah, could I get a pack of the Marlboro menthols, please? Dressed as Spider-Man, I'm going to get shortchanged or something,
Where are you gonna
I'm not going to get the result I want. Let's see.
But generally in the work environment, men are required to wear a suit. Basically a work uniform.
Yes.
Whereas women get the freedom, they can, so long as they're not walking around with their tits out, they can wear pretty much whatever they like.
True. I mean, but they still have to dress professionally.
Well, yeah.
It's just a man's professional dress is more
Regimented.
focused than a woman's professional dress.
Yeah.
You know, they are different things, and I'm fine with that actually, because men and women are different. You know, if a woman's using
what, and now I can complain I'm being ignored. You're phobic.
I don't even know what that means, Panina.
No, I don't. You're making it up.
Yeah.
Look, she's making it all up.
Well, she's making it up as she goes along.
Well,
anyhow,
never.
Let's see. Feminism had its chance to declare victory, and
everybody, men, women, whatever, would have gone. Yep, well done. You were a very effective force. You did what you said you was going to do, and then you bowed out gracefully.
You know, good on you for it.
We would have quite happily accepted a small movement to make sure things stayed as they were, but they would have basically never been heard of unless something was done that went against.
Did I ever tell you the pie plate story? I don't know. I probably did, because I talk about it on occasion.
I'm sure our audience has probably not heard it.
I'm sure some of them have. But this is my example of what feminism has failed to do. Okay, I used to play paintball. And we used to go to this eucalyptus forest in California, where we'd play paintball. And way up high in the taller trees, someone had gotten up there and nailed some pie plates as targets that you could shoot for practice, you know. Right. And they were way up high. They were very, very high, in fact. And I go up to the line, and there's a bunch of guys shooting at them, and they're missing left and right, just missing. And I'm there with my paintball gun, and I'm waiting, I'm watching them. And, you know, when I see that everyone's done for a moment, I just sort of step up to the line, raise my weapon, take aim, pop off one shot, dead center in the pie plate. I looked at them, nodded my head, and I walked away. Why? Showmanship. I knew that if I tried to take that shot again, I was going to miss. I knew damn well that was a fluke. That wasn't me demonstrating skill of any kind. That was me getting lucky. But I knew that to maintain the illusion of skill, I had to just step away from the line without a word, don't brag, don't rub anyone's face in it, just sort of go, huh, and walk away. Now, see, feminism stayed at that line and kept shooting and kept missing.
Yeah.
That's feminism's biggest failure. They should have known. They should have said, okay, we did our thing. Let's just go away quietly until we're needed again.
And now they're rallying for the plate to be lowered and moved closer.
Yeah, exactly.
What is fae? Fairies. I'm a sprite, or maybe you're being pixel phobic. Well, I'm a vector supremacist.
Oh.
A vectorized supremacist. I don't do pixels.
That's you're a vector nationalist. Whatever that means. I know it has to do with graphics. But yeah. Panina's getting silly.
That's all right.
But
bring on your silly. I shall duel you with the silliness.
And see, later on in life, when I was watching the show Seinfeld, there's that exchange between George and Jerry. George is like, I can't, the people at work never like me. They, it's like I get in there, I make that one good joke, and then I keep trying to push it along, and everyone just disappointed with me. Disappointed as all hell. And Jerry's like, well, you're not using showmanship. You go out on a high note. That's what feminism should have done. Go out on the high note. You got everything you wanted. You won your battles. And good on you for doing it, because I actually agree with those victories. I like those victories. But I'm not gonna get behind a movement that wants to ban the word bossy. You know, I've very much got Jordan Peterson's point of view on that, because you can't think unless you risk being offensive.
The worst of it is they're not even. I'm not going to say they're not intelligent enough. They're not forward thinking enough to realize it goes, okay, so I'm not allowed to use bossy anymore. Okay, I'll just start using cunt.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you really think that you tell me I can't use this word, that I'm not going to find another word to put in its place?
And not just a word of equal value. I'm going to find something even worse.
I'm going to find something either worse or something stranger. I've been known to refer to someone as a closet rod. I mean, there's no meaning behind it. You know, you can't attach it to anything specific. Not really.
It's a bit like,
but it sounds insulting, doesn't it? Who's this closet rod?
a bit like douche
Hey, would
canoe.
someone tell that closet rod to shut up?
I've still yet to figure out what a douche canoe is, but I love it. It's a brilliant insult.
Oh, I know, exactly. It sounds like a little caddy in which you place a used douche. That's what I get out of it. But then you know, there's the douche canoe, and then there's the douche frigate.
For the
Because the
monumentally
douche
sized
frigate,
cunts.
the douche frigate is a douche canoe, but only several orders of magnitude worse. You know, that's how it works. You know, if you can't use one word, you're going to do something else, and it may not make sense, but it's going to sound bad. It's going to sound terrible.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if I call someone skyrocket, it's probably clear that I'm mocking them. You know, I'm not making a a commentary on fireworks.
Well, it's
I'm
like,
insulting someone.
It's the best insults are the ones that it takes the victim. I hate using that word, but the victim a few minutes to figure out whether they've been insulted or not. By which time their chance for a comeback is long since gone, so they just have to take it.
Well, yeah, that's why I was a big fan of the phrase asshat. You know, because asshat's funny.
Yeah. Ass
You know,
ass clown, douche canoe, twat.
But you know, I wasn't satisfied with it either, because I kept thinking there's got to be a way to make this better. Hey, who's this ass jacket? You know, because there are words that you use them a certain way, and you stick them together, two words that don't belong together, especially, and you can insult someone, and you can deprive them of that ability for the quick, witty comeback, and you win. You know, it would be akin to, let's say, teaching a pug to Heil Hitler.
Yeah.
How's that for swinging it back around?
Nice segue. Nice segue.
Well, it is. It's two things that you slap together that just don't go together and don't make sense, and you have to.
It's kind of like a NASCAR segue.
There's
We keep
going to be
turning
someone.
left and we get back to where we started.
Right. Exactly. You know, someone's cocking their head, looking at it, going, "Huh?" And when they finally realize it, their chance for the comeback is over.
And
You know, unless they're a law enforcement agency that colludes with the news media to get cameras outside of your house to go and arrest you, so they can make their political statement. Tyranny.
I mean, it's like the best insults are also brilliant, because not only does it deprive them of the quick, witty comeback, it then also puts them in that position where they're lying in bed at night trying to sleep, and they're replaying that argument over in their head. And then the insult comes, and then they get their witty comeback, and they kick themselves, and it's all like the most intelligent thing you're ever going to say.
As well as I do.
Nobody there to hear it.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And you know why I recognize that? Because I've lived it.
Oh, we've all done it.
Exactly. We've all been hit with that insult. We had nothing for it. God damn it. And then, you know, later that week, while we're filling up the tub to have our nice, lovely bubble bath, you just have that son of a bitch moment. Yeah. You have that moment. It hits you. It's like, that's what I should have said to the guy. I should have called him this. God, you know, and you're kicking yourself straight up. I'll be ready next time. You know,
I'll get you.
And then next time never
Gadget.
comes.
Yeah.
And you wind up having to like shoehorn it in somewhere else with other people in a completely different context.
And it never works.
Yes. But we've all experienced that. It's one of those things that people everywhere share separately. You know, we've all had that experience. You know, it's like when you think it's a fart and it's not. We've all had that experience. That's the only reason the word shart is so funny. It's because everyone knows exactly what you're talking about.
But we'll never admit it. It's
just not the thing you talk about in primetime entertainment. You know, it's not the thing that's going to make the evening news. Oh. True. But it's true. And that, you know, that's the ability that ability to understand that people all experience these same things. You know, looking at that chain link fence from a certain angle, and it seems to there seems to be like a little bit of a reality warp going on because, you know, it's doing that thing that a chain link fence will do, that illusion that takes place. Everyone knows that. Everyone's experienced it. But you never really talk about it, do you?
It's like when the road's hot and you look at it along a certain way and it actually looks wet because of the mirage effect. Everybody experiences it. Nobody's talking about it. It all boils down to that old saying, we all put our pants on one leg at a time. Meaning we all have the same experiences every day. So we're no different to anybody else.
Yeah, they're just remarkably mundane. You're going to tell me that the judge in this case against Dankula has never taken two things that, when you put them together, would be a complete mismatch and found humor in it. Nonsense. Of course he has. Of course that judge has. Because that's one of those lived and shared experiences that we all have.
Yeah, you have to be especially sort of emotionally stunted not to have.
And the thing you realize, once you realize that we all have these experiences, you know, convicting Dankula indicates that this is not a guy who is convicting him based on anything of substance. This is clearly a conviction based on politics.
Yeah.
This is a representative of the state attempting to exercise more and more control than they have.
Padina, humor generally is absurdity. It's a story, whether it's true or false, with an unexpected conclusion.
Right. It's the two snakes slithering through the woods. One says to the other, "Hey, Charlie, are we poisonous snakes?" Yeah, Bill, I think we are. Why do you ask?" "Oh, no reason. Just bit my lip." You know, it's a completely absurd thing. And, you know, the snakes don't bite lip. Snakes don't bite their own lip. Not regularly, but people do. And that's why that's where the comedy comes from, is because everyone can relate to that stupid moment where they bite their own lip, where they bite down on their tongue accidentally. Yeah. I even have a thing where occasionally I will manage to poke my finger in my own eye. You don't know how it happens, but you damn well know it happens because you've done it too.
It's like that thing every single person has done at some point where they've dropped the phone on their face while texting.
Yeah. It's just... it's not the phone hitting, it's the look on the face afterward. Yeah. Just for a split second. For a split second, you think that your phone owes you an explanation.
Yeah, it's the look. Because everybody does it. They look around for somebody else to blame for it.
Yeah. You know, it's like when someone trips over nothing. It's like when you're walking down the sidewalk and you trip over nothing, you turn and look as if there was something there. You know, hoping that no one else noticed, but also looking for that thing that was there in the hopes that everyone would realize you're not really an idiot. But no, you're an idiot.
Then the walk of shame until you get round the corner, and then you can sort of,
yeah.
Yep, I think I got away with that one.
But you know, there's also the risk that someone was close by and they followed you around that corner and go, you tripped over nothing. You know, it's like if a bird flies into your head. You know, you're gonna be, for one thing, people are gonna laugh at you. There's no getting out of that. But there's gonna be the one guy who's like, he flew right into your head, like he couldn't avoid it. Never saw that before. Bird into somebody's head. You know, there's gonna be that guy who's not laughing at you, but he's just he's just kind of mesmerized that it actually happened, and yes, that makes it funny.
Well, I didn't see that one coming. Well, obviously you'd have moved.
But that's just it, you know. The judges had those experiences too. Everyone in the courtroom has had those. The prosecutor, the news media, the police, they've all had those kinds of experiences. They are not suffering any confusion about what that video truly represented.
No.
And because we know they're not suffering any confusion, we know damn well that they're doing this on purpose.
I mean, even with beyond reasonable doubt included, any judge who's managed to go through law school and rise his way up to the ranks to be able to sit on a bench and wear a stupid wig has got to have the reasonable doubt in his mind that maybe I just don't get it. Maybe it is actually funny, maybe, but I just don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, shit, you could get any comedian in that courtroom and explain in detail why that's funny. But because of that, that's kind of suicide for that case, though, because as Jimmy Carr rightly pointed out, explaining comedy is like dissecting a frog. Nobody laughs and the frog dies.
Yeah. I mean, we all know it's true.
Comedy isn't funny.
We all know it's true. We've all heard a joke and the person next to us is in puddles of urine from laughter, and we've just gone, I get the joke, it just wasn't funny. Or sometimes, you just don't get it. Comedy is very subjective. But even though it is subjective, you can recognize that it's a joke. Even if you don't think it's a funny joke, you can recognize that it is a joke. That was its intent, was to make somebody laugh.
Well, let's imagine that can the state of Scotland legally mandate that everyone enjoys rap, but being used, but it being rapped via Cockney rhyming slang?
Oh, good Lord.
I mean, can they do that? Is that a law that's going to work? No, because musical tastes are subjective.
Yeah.
And everyone knows that. It's the same thing with comedy. Everyone knows that. Again, this just points to the fact that the state is doing this on purpose.
You could only paint pictures of fruit, never flowers.
Right. You know, it's like mandating that everyone likes cuttlefish on their pizza. Not going to work. It just won't happen.
No,
you can't. The state cannot reasonably mandate that everyone love barbecue sauce in their coffee.
I would not want to live in a state like that.
Because I mean, it just doesn't work.
Well, this is a mean of all this is legally setting a precedent to begin the means of disarming the opposition. Take away the guns.
Yes,
take away the ability to mock.
That's what the whole thing's about. This all, especially in the Western societies, This really all comes down to interfering with elections, which the left has been complaining about for over a year now.
Yep.
They've been complaining about it and complaining about it and complaining about it while they're doing it. That's what all of this is. Can't talk about guns on YouTube. Well, if they can't talk about guns, then nobody's going to know about guns, and no one would dare. Then they just have to accept the fact that guns are bad.
Legally,
so no one would dare vote a politician into office who would be pro-gun. I mean, that's what they're doing.
What it's going to come to is legally we cannot prevent a candidate from the Jellyfish Party from running. But what we're going to do is if you dare talk about the Jellyfish Party, you're going to prison.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's happening.
Yep.
They're basically trying to legislate tyranny into being.
Yeah.
And they're using censorship to do it. It's not the government censoring, but how many governments have put pressure on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter?
Well, I know the
more than one.
The Chinese government, the German government.
Yeah, sure probably most of the EU.
Most of the European governments, yeah. I mean, I know that there's been a lot of incidences of Facebook saying, right, we will filter blah, blah, blah because blah, blah country finds it politically sensitive.
But yeah, they find it politically inconvenient is what's really going on. I mean, how long before I'm silenced for pointing this kind of stuff out? How long before you are?
Well, that's the big worry with... You've got the Lawrence Southern Brit Pettibone and who shall forever be nameless because I don't remember his fucking name.
Skeshevazin and that guy, yeah.
Joe, who do you know? Yeah. Well, I know Lawrence Southern. Okay, you'd be her friend then. The guy who we don't know. But they get refused permission to enter the country, even though they've both been over here many times before.
Yep.
Never been arrested for anything, never caused any disturbances, never even... at most, they handed out some what may be described as distasteful leaflets, but there's no crime in being distasteful.
Yeah.
They're banned from the country because they're pointing at the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
This
all comes...
Then you get Dankula, who's pointing at the elephant in the room, but he gets thrown... Well, I don't know whether he'd be thrown in prison or whether this will all just be quietly shuffled under a rug somewhere. But he's been...
Well, that's what they're hoping.
He's been convicted of pointing at the elephant in the room. How long is it before they go after somebody like Sargon of Akkad?
Right.
And then once they go after Sargon of Akkad, how long till they come after somebody like me?
Exactly. This is why we have to speak now.
Yeah.
I mean, the phrase "speak now or forever hold your peace" does not apply exclusively to weddings. Everyone's got to stand up and say no. I'm tempted to fire off a nasty old... I'm almost willing to start an international incident with the state of Scotland over this thing. But that's because I'm angry about it. Yeah, tyranny makes me angry.
Anger is never a place to fight from.
Exactly. But I know that because I'm not 18.
Yeah. Which is why I was saying, I can't remember if it was before we went on air, that there is a backlash coming from this. But unlike the left, we're not just going to all go out throwing temper tantrums in the street.
We're not going to buy some poorly knitted hats.
We've had the hashtag. We've had a smattering of YouTube videos saying this is bullshit. We've had there's a petition started that immediately got removed because of reasons. But when the backlash does come, it's going to be well planned, it's going to be well cited, and it's going to be as watertight as they can possibly make it.
Yes. And hell, for my own part, I'm not going to stop advocating for the UK to institute a Bill of Rights.
I think if this is going to do anything, this whole Dankula Lawrence Southern thing is going to do anything, is going to bolster the numbers of people within this country who are going to say, look, we need this. Because look at what you've been doing otherwise. That's not right.
Right. I mean, And it's not just there. I mean, it is everywhere. It's throughout Europe. It's throughout the West. We have a situation now where the governments, either directly or indirectly through social media and manipulating social media companies, are coming down on the populations. They're coming down on the people for stupid things, for things that aren't even crime.
Now, as far as the United States go, is it the government or is it the what would be called the opposition party who's doing this? Because if it's the government, then you got a problem. But if it's the opposition party, then it's
President Trump
it's still a problem, but just a different one.
President Trump did recently say something about video games. He did say that he was fine with exercising due process after taking guns from people.
Now, did he say that?
So that's the government doing it.
I've got a question because I know the clip you're talking about, but I haven't seen the entirety of it for context. Was that what he said, or was... Because I believe this was from like a brainstorming session where shit just got thrown against the wall to see what stuck. Because it was also at the same time he was on about arming teachers. Just as a suggestion of things that could be looked at.
Yes.
Because if that's the case,
still,
it's not necessarily him.
Even it may not rise to the level of the government doing something like that, but it's being talked about, isn't it?
Oh, true.
It's being talked about in the face of the Second and Fourth Amendments. Hey, Victor.
But then is it being properly represented when it's being talked about? Because we know what the media is like.
No, Arthur puts it very well, actually. That's shoot now and ask questions later. That's what postponing due process is.
Yeah, knee-jerk politics.
Let's see. Did they also pass a bill saying that domain registries are responsible for what goes up on their sites or on their domains, which is also bad? I don't know if they did or not. Like I said, that's one of those things I do need to...
Victor, I've not seen your name show up before, so welcome to
Nor have I. I wonder if it's an alias.
Glad you could join us.
Because my reach is notoriously limited. Wonder why that is. But yeah, that's my biggest part. The biggest part I can play is continuing to advocate for a Bill of Rights for the people of the United Kingdom. And yeah, I don't care. See, all the arguments against such a thing, I don't care about it. The same thing when President Trump got into office, and there was the talk of repealing Obamacare. What are you going to put in its place? No, nothing. We didn't have it before. Everything was pretty good. Get rid of it. Well, you can't just... Yes, you can. I mean, they put it in place without having any sort of a cooling down period, didn't they? Same thing with the Bill of Rights in the UK. Yeah, well, then the government's going to have to take time. Fine. Then they have to take time. They have to adjust, but they have to start following it immediately.
That's what they're there for.
Oh, it's an alias indeed. His real name is Victor Brand. That's not much of an alias. I hope you're not calling yourself any sort of a master criminal, because there's a chance, just a slim chance, that they may catch up with you. Unless it's a super... Although, honestly, if you're a master criminal, if you're out there stealing jewels and priceless art, they're not going to catch you, because they got to worry about some 8th grader that called their classmate fatso. And we got to prosecute that kid.
There's no challenge to being a master criminal anymore. Not unless you got
Well, there
Twitter.
are no more master criminals.
Not unless you got Twitter.
I mean, let's face it. Have you seen cops? I mean, my God, the only people cops are chasing are people with pants around their butt cheeks, who can't run at full speed because pants.
I could commit a crime right now. Picture this. Walking down the street, and what do you see coming towards you? Porky Pig in a burqa.
Ooh.
I shall
Now that'd be interesting.
I shall wait for local law enforcement. I'll get my suitcase packed because I've just said something bad on the internet.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a. Oh, let's see. I'm more of the build creative weapons like robots. Okay. Or like killbots of shits type.
Build
I can
creative
see
weapons like killbots. Are they fuckable killbots just to piss the feminists off?
Oh yeah, totally. Tell you what, here's what we do. We get one of those sex robots, and we do like that guy did when he made his ex-cat into a drone. That way they're spread-eagled and ready for action, and they can fly. Let's fly some of that stuff around. That would be a good... someone's got to take the piss out of the world with that one. That's a free idea. Let's hope Rule 34 applies and someone does it.
I'd love to make one of them. I'm just not spending 15 grand on the bot.
Oh, hell no. Honestly, I'm too lazy to buy a sex robot because I know I'd have to clean it out and I'd be like, yeah, all I got to do now is just, and I'm done. I'm fine.
I don't know. Gone are the days when people just use the vacuum cleaner.
People actually did that, huh?
I assume so. I'm not Googling it to find out. Well, not till later anyway.
Well, Arthur, I got to be honest. I'm not up on all the internet rules, but whatever. As long as my point was semi-made, that's all that matters.
I think Rule 34 is if
it exists,
there's porn of it, and Rule 35 is if there's not porn of it, there soon will be. There's something like that.
So which is the rule that if it's mentioned on the internet, it happens? Isn't that one of the rules?
I honestly.
Or did I dream it?
I think that's one of the early rules. Pixar, it didn't happen.
Well, kind of, yeah. Oh, Rule 35 is that you must make it. Okay.
Yeah. If you build it, they will come. And I am deliberately misspelling that.
Yes, I know. I could tell by the way you said it how you spelled it.
A verbal typo.
Yes. I've been wanting to do that, with the whole there, and there thing. I've been wanting to correct someone on their spelling when they say it verbally, just to screw with them. No, we're not going there for about 20 minutes. No, you mean there, not there, there. What? Oh, don't look at me like you didn't misspell it. What are you talking about? Yeah, you can play innocent all you want. I'm not buying it. You misspelled there. I caught you in it. Just accept it and move on. God, you're such a child.
Oh, you misspelled it. Unfortunately, I have to pull you on that. You used the wrong version of your.
Oh, fuck. Damn it. Oh, see, that's my whole plan shattered. Now I don't know what to do with myself. But here's what I want to know with YouTube's new anti-gun thing. How far does that extend? Can people still live stream games?
Good call.
I
did see something Milo Yiannopoulos posted on Facebook yesterday about how Disney are removing all of the blasters from the promotional material for the new Star Wars film. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's this level of it's this. Oh my God, it's so infantile.
But there's also another question I've got. There's the toy review channels, which are big on YouTube. I mean, there's a couple of them that are in like the top 10 biggest channels on YouTube, are they no longer allowed to do reviews of the new Nerf blaster?
Exactly. Did they use CGI to make them walkie-talkies? I don't know.
But basically it was a picture of it looked like Han Solo. It might not have been. It might have been one of the new characters that I don't give a shit about. Holding a blaster out at arm's length, you know, that sort of three-quarter pose where he's pointing and towards what would be the camera, but off to like 7 o'clock.
Off to one side.
Yeah. All they basically did was photoshopped out the arm and had it down by his side. They just dismembered him rather than have him holding it.
Yeah, that's going to make it look like a movie with some action elements.
Welcome to the new Star Wars movie where we just stand around and maybe occasionally fart at one another.
No, but they're going to be perfectly fine with advocating beating people with bludgeons.
Oh, yeah.
Or, you know, a space bludgeon because it's a lightsaber.
Ah, but are they going to take away lightsabers because lightsabers are the next step from guns?
Well, you know, it could blind somebody. The light might get in their eyes.
I mean, it really is going to get to the case of, right, take away the guns, they're going to use swords. So then we have to legislate against swords because there'll be a mass slashing at a school somewhere. So then
there already has been
swords, and then it's baseball bats. So that's the end. That's Major League Baseball banned.
Yep.
Because bullshit reasons.
Yep. You won't be able to. You won't be able to do your own commentary on a famous baseball player hitting its 780th home run for the season.
Yeah, Babe Ruth will have to be removed from the Baseball Hall of Fame if the whole Hall of Fame
all the baseball stuff on YouTube's going to have to go.
Yeah, they'll be.
You know what? Someone got run over by a car once, so we got to take anything off YouTube that has automobiles in it. In fact, here's what we do, because a lot of times it's the quote unquote advertisers that are making these complaints. I think we should start a grassroots movement to remove all automobile advertising from everywhere. They did it with cigarettes.
Oh, yeah.
Let's start a grassroots movement. People die
they did it with cigarettes
because of automobiles, so let's get rid of all the automobile advertisements. Which ones?
We don't have cigarette or alcohol advertising here in the UK anymore.
Yeah, there you go. Let's get rid of everything. Hell, let's just outlaw advertising altogether.
Yep, it'll soon get to the point where the only thing that is permissible on YouTube, Facebook, and whatever the fuck else is basically leftist indoctrination.
You know, let's get rid of Campbell's
person saying the approved things.
Let's get rid of Campbell's soup advertisement because there's a lot of sodium in those soups, and some people can't eat a lot of sodium.
Hell, let's get rid of Wonder Bread because of the
diabetes.
And well, gluten's a bad thing.
And white bread is racist.
Soy bread instead. So all our testicles can shrink and we can grow a beard and have the Soylent grin.
Yeah. It's just, oh, God.
There was one thing I did, just a weird connection I made, is you got the Soylent grin from all these soy boys.
Yeah.
And it made me think, well, I watched the Muppet Show. Have you ever seen what a Muppet looks like when it smiles? Mouth wide open.
Yep.
So therefore, soy boys are Muppets.
Yep, I'm going to have to agree with that.
And there's direct correlation to prove it.
It's infuriating. Oh, hey, look, it's 10:30, and I do believe Maddie's show, The Morning Brew, is going to start at any time.
Well, in which case, what we will do, as Maddie is one of our Network 34 affiliates, we will say goodbye to all of you, and we will catch you the next time. God knows when, God knows where, because this really is an off-the-cuff stream. But thank all of you for joining us, and I don't know, I always suck at endings.
Yeah, I'm gonna do something that I never do. Just because, like I said, I want to test YouTube. I don't trust YouTube. please like, comment, and subscribe. I never say that because, it sounds, I don't want to come off like I'm desperate for approval or anything. But nothing's happening organically for the most part. So I want to see if the subscriptions can actually go up. I want to see if I can get any other kind of interaction. I don't care what channel you're on. I don't care if it's on my channel, Eric Orr's, Network 34's Twitch, or Network 34's YouTube. Just like, subscribe, make a comment if you want, tell us we're morons. Just so I can see a number change in a specific direction for once.
Yeah, just to see whether, it's just, because we're as much here to talk to each other as we are to the rest of you. That's why we've got so many chat boxes along the bottom of the screen, because this isn't a show about us, it's about all of us. We're just the idiots with the microphones.
Yep.
So, we do suggest that you go and have a look at Madwoman Media, who will be broadcasting live on Twitch with the Morning Brew, which is your news, reviews, entertainment, and general shit shooting. Well worth a listen. So, until next time, hit the subscribe button so you know when we're on, because we don't have a schedule. Until then, I've got to do this because I didn't get to do it last time. So, yeah. Outro time. Catch you all later, people.
Great. Enjoy.